I woke up this morning, February 20th, 2026, got out of bed, did my usual routine. I opened YouTube and saw that SB19 have released a new video. It literally came out 9 hours ago at the time of recording. This will be my 4th time hearing SB19 because Visa has just come out. I've not received any recommendations for it or any comments telling me about it. So I have looked up the lyrics, I found an English translation, and it looks to be about, no surprises here, an actual visa, or rather they're talking about the need for a visa to achieve global success or recognition, talking about a visa being a blocker or a barrier to success. From my understanding, SB19 are pretty big. They're pretty well known, right? So I'm not sure if this applies to them or maybe other Filipino artists. I'm also not quite sure yet if this is to be taken as literal or metaphorical. Either way, sounds interesting. So let's see how they set these lyrics to music.
Marami swerte raw ang makatapak ka ng tae. Sabi na ilayo ng nilagad at sila na may panay. Uy, grabe ka! Amoy tagumpay, panay sa husay, gilibreng sagay, wag lang bubuka. Ako'y samurai, malapa, tusay, balikan mo na talimim may aray.
Teka lang, di naman kailangan pang ikaw ipagyabang. Hahayaan ko na lang ang mga madlang pipulang umawit ang mundong aking tinagusan. Ano raw? Pick it down. Tunay ka maingay when you don't have to make a sound. And that's what's up, that's what's up. True SB, let's get at the top. Tandang-tanda ka ba nung araw humiling? Sa bulala ako'y nag-bang-bang-bang. Balang araw ko ay titigilin. Kasi ngaya ako ay magaling. Wala maring dato.
Oh, hi Stel. I was just pausing. Yeah, we're about 1 minute in. This is completely unlike the other SB19 songs I have heard to date. So this is really interesting for me, quite overwhelming, especially with the video as well. It's a fun video, so much color, vibrancy. The other SB19 videos I've done have either been lyric videos or not actually showing them. I have kind of seen them on the Wish Bus and stuff, but separately. Wow, well, let me go over a few things and then we'll carry on with the song. I'll just go back to the beginning. It's a really funky opening. Interesting decision to have this rather unprofessional trumpet playing. They're out of tune, they're missing the notes. Which just adds to the comedic value, which is immediately apparent with these three guys dressed like that walking in. I mean, this is not what I was expecting at all. It took me a few seconds to adjust because considering the lyrics, which I guess we could consider to be political, maybe you might expect something a bit more serious. Anyway, then a, you know, like a small big band brass type sound comes in. Which is very rhythmic, also providing us with some harmonic substance. Kind of gives me Latin American vibes, quite funky. Then the vocals come in, and it's Ken we hear first. This unique voice of his, which I've mentioned in every other SB19 video I have done.
Sabi ng marami swerte raw ang makatapak ka ng tae. Sabi na ilayo ng nilagad at sila na may panay.
With a very comedic first line as well, you know, it's just immediately quite out there. I have not heard Ken rap before. Like I said, this is a very different style to the other SB19 videos I've seen. Rapping, to me, is an interesting thing, depending on who's doing it. Some rappers are much more closely aligned to speaking in terms of pitch and intonation, but others are much more closely aligned to singing because they rap at actual pitches. You know, we could transcribe their rapping and notate it as music, as notes. Eminem is a great example, probably the most famous example.
Going through public housing systems, victim of munch out.
Here, Ken is kind of halfway between the two, and the fact it's Ken with a naturally lower set voice, just being lower down makes it a little bit less melodic than higher up. So it's quite cool. It's like rap, but with certain melodic elements. Then Josh comes in. Because it's not as melodic and musical as them singing, the music side of our brain, I think, is more attracted to what's going on underneath the rapping, seeking out the music. What do we get? We get the bass line, super catchy and rhythmic. The beat Catchy and rhythmic, a little bit disjointed, which creates a bit of tension, and we get the occasional instrumental moments as well. So it's really interesting. Everything I've just said all applies to Josh as well, because he comes in next, but Josh is higher set in pitch, so naturally he's more suited to all these kind of ticka-ticka noises that we get. As a result, we get more instrumentation, more trumpets, which are also a higher pitch, so much more suited to Josh's voice than Ken's. And his English line that we just heard, I'll play it again. I think that sounds quite like Eminem. Don't come at me, I said what I said.
So when I'm not cooperating, when I'm rocking the table while he's operating.
Surely you hear that as well. Enough about the rap side, because then Pablo comes in, singing, melody, higher up in the register, blended voice. So a bit heady, quite airy, working really nicely against this trumpet counter melody, so we get some nice counterpoint between the two parts. And then at the end of his phrase, just where we paused, there was more grit coming through in his sound. These dance moves, hey? And of course, he's moved to a more chesty, deeper sound. Really interesting song, so different to my previous experiences. Let's carry on. Yeah, I have been talking for a lot there, which is not ideal, but it is what it is.
Ang hirap talagang lumipad kahit na may patunay na kaya mo na kailangan pa ng visa. Pag mo nakita, bitbit ko ng mga breaks. Arat na dito mga fans. Bumagaling, nabusog lahat sa aking sinaing. Nak ng pating, nagreklamo pang let tayong kanin. Sorry, pasensya ka na. Alam kong napagod ka sa pagbayahang balusin kita.
Oh, go on, Ken. So what does this mean? Noipi, 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 noipi. They've said it a lot. It doesn't have an English translation. I guess it's a colloquialism of some sort. If you know, please let me know in the comments. They did a similar thing in Mappa with the... That was more of a lullaby, so quite different contextually to this, but really interesting nonetheless. All right, well, this song's crazy. Just so different to my other SB19 experiences. Sorry, I haven't really got used to it just yet. What have we heard? Let's go back to the... Is it the chorus? It's very funky, but I'm asking, is it the chorus because it's tricky? Because Stell's melody that he just has, it's really similar to Pablo's that we just heard, which of course is by design. I was saying earlier that Pablo at the end of his phrase there had a bit of grit coming into the sound, and that's just before the changeover to Stell's voice, who's naturally higher set, so his sound is a bit more pure higher up. So by having Pablo into Stell singing basically the same line one after each other, I think it's cool because it's obviously a similarity, but also it's kind of highlighting a contrast between the two. Differences in their timbres and textures, you know, how their voice sounds. Oh, that is not a good freeze frame for Justin there. Sorry, my man. Anyway, why this song is really interesting to me, well, one of the reasons is because we never really hear more than 2 or 3 different musical lines at the same time, not including the beat. In most songs, you'll have a guitar and a piano, and a voice or two voices, and a bass, and anything else. And the guitar and the piano, they play multiple notes at the same time, usually, so you kind of have multiple lines within one. Here, it's trumpets that can only play one note at a time. We also have the bass, and the bass typically plays one note at a time, especially in this style when it's jumping around. The trumpets are also just playing in unison or in octaves with the bass. Have a listen. So we have a lot of opportunity for harmony, but they're just choosing not to use it. So overall, the music from a harmony perspective, if you've seen my videos before, you'll know that I like to dig into the harmony. And by harmony, I just mean how many different notes we're hearing at the same time. So the chords that we're hearing, all of that is really restricted. We're basically just hearing C sharp minor all the way through. The bass riff just uses the notes of the scale. Same with the trumpets, and the ordering of the notes almost gives it a slightly Arabian feel. Maybe I'm clutching at straws there. But this harmonic restrictiveness, again, I think is all by design. Why is this? I don't know, but personally, and this is just my thoughts, I think it is to emphasize the lyrics even more, especially considering the subject matter here. To emphasize the melodic moments as well when they do happen, such as on the most important word of the song, the title word, visa. And to emphasize the rhythms, which are super catchy and probably the most important aspect of this song. If you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting me. You can buy me a coffee or hot chocolate, join our Patreon for loads of additional content that's not available on YouTube, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. All options are linked below, and a special thanks to everyone on the screen. Back to the video. Let's see how they implement some rhythmic disjointedness here. You know, that's something different. Rhythms are clearly so important, unlike the other songs I've seen. Time, Ilaw, Mappa. By the way, I have also done reactions to live performances of those, but they're on Patreon, so you can find them all linked below in the pinned comment. And before this little rhythmic change, we get another noipi section. Where if we're thinking about the harmony, like I said before, it's just one chord, this chord, and we can hear it in the bass. Repeated. And just as we're familiarizing ourselves with this pattern, with that bass note, they just completely break it up. With a series of noises, of visual stimuli, and put them together, they kind of have the same effect as a drum kit, which is really cool. We had like an elevated ding in there. The video's done really well, obviously, to enhance all of these rhythmic things that we've got going on. They exit that section with a nice scale up. And then Justin's bit later on. The music's building up, we get more layers, more counterpoint, thicker, louder sounds. I thought it was going to build up to something massive, but no, they bring in Ken singing in his head voice, really airy and delicate, the complete opposite to what I thought we were building up to. Then we have a Ken moment where he's straining up in his chest voice. Well, there's a lot going on. If you're still watching, thank you, because I think I've probably spoken more than I even normally do in this video. So let's carry on with the song and finish this one up.
What if kalmahan lang natin? Let's go. Dito, masaya lang, kahit may lahat na para bang spaghetti lang. May sa baba, sa taas meron ng David, Pasco, M. Jacinto, Oro, Trigo, Bruno, Nico, Joseph, ay, baka naman, Pablo. Kahit na ano pa ang gawin, why back, wala pa rin dating.
Well, that was quite something. Really crazy video, crazy song, almost bordering on the absurd a little bit. And it's really well done because the lyrics, you know, they are, as I said at the start, to be considered perhaps a little bit political. You'd think it would be serious, but the video is just full of these little funny gimmicks and the video is so unserious. Even little things like this. There's the most pointless glass screen with a hole in the middle. They're getting angry. They can just walk around the side and slap him if they wanted to. But in this little world of absurdity, you know, this is a barrier. All these little things, the attention to detail. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about the music anymore because there weren't that many new musical ideas at the end. A lot of repeated ideas such as the noipy, noipy, noipy. I still want to know what that means. But yeah, overall, quite a attack on the senses. Not attack, that sounds negative. The song definitely grew on me as well as it proceeded. At the start, I think I was just a little bit shocked at how different this was to the other songs I've heard by them, but I guess they are more the ballads. So once more, if you want to check out my other SB19 videos, do so, please. They'll be in the pinned comment below or in the description, the playlist. I have additional SB19 content over on Patreon. And if you made it this far, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you want to see more SB19 by liking this video. Comment down below other SB19 songs you want me to do. If you don't want to write any words, our emoji for today instead will be the dancing emoji because there was a lot of dancing in this one. Thank you once again, and I will see you in the next one.